Live number 5 today. We're going all day today. We've got Nate joining us, my husband, the love of my life, and we are going to be talking about the benefits and reasons why you should add sprouts and microgreens to every meal. So we'll just wait for Nate to join in, and hopefully you guys have been enjoying this bundle event. We enjoy it every year that we do it. It is so much fun. We love connecting. We set aside the whole bundle event so that we could just go live with you every day, all the time, and post videos and have some fun. We've been posting daily what we eat in a day videos on YouTube, so you can go check those out. I've been posting all the lives on YouTube as well, so there's so many lives going on, so much stuff. We've got some recurring people who join in every live. Watermelon Lime, Anna Maria, thank you so much for joining our lives and enjoying all the content and being inspired, and everyone else who's joining in. Even if you can't join in all of them, we appreciate you spending even a couple minutes with us. We love you. We love you. And Nate is in the house, so I'm going to invite live. Woo, let's wait. Let's see.
Good to see you.
Joining. Nate, my love.
Maybe I'll close the door so we don't get the
It's
echo.
good to see you. You're in the office. Yes, close the door. If you guys want to buy the bundle, get the bundle in our bios.
I know.
Because the bundle ends in 3 days,
and then
babe.
and then it doesn't come back until next year. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And in a way, I'm sad because I love these bundle events. I love this. I mean, it's a lot in the making. And you know, being behind the scenes, it takes months. It takes months to build these bundles and to plan for them. So it is like an online festival. And that's why we can only do the raw
and of course,
this year. So if you
really,
are interested, get it now.
A lot of creators are thinking of what their contribution will be for next year. And that's what's so cool about the bundle is like everything is brand new. And, it's really nice that we have as a creator, we have a year to prepare for the next bundle, maybe a little bit less. But yeah, I know it is kind of a bittersweet thing because it is a lot of work and we have a lot of fun. So yeah, we're excited, and then we're like, it's ready to relax a minute and take a deep breath of fresh air and get back on our regular routine of what we like to do in the morning. But it's such a short time period that we get to connect with everybody that it's definitely worth it, 100%.
100%. I know. I love bundle time, but again, you guys, it's only 3 more days left. So if you haven't gotten the bundle yet, please go do it. We will not be offended if you grab the live to go buy the bundle.
And then that way, you can make your shopping list right now. Go get some good stuff and try some new recipes. We've been making these amazing recipes and showcasing them on our YouTube as well, kind of like what we ate in a day from the recipes that we found inside the bundle. And I don't know, I think we counted it up, like we've made over like 50 new recipes or something, rather, like all kinds of amazing new recipes. This has been so much fun.
I know, it's so much fun, and we really encourage all of you who have purchased the bundle. I know a lot of people have bought it for my wraps book, which is awesome. Thank you so much for the support. Or you've bought it because you want to dive into Nate's kitchen course, or you've bought it for like 1 or 2 books, for example. We really recommend and encourage you to open all the ebooks and just like sit with the person's creation for a moment and like look through their recipes and read their story and see the love that they put into all of these creations for you. You're getting over $1,800 worth of content.
Lissa and I have been talking, and this is what we try to do with the last bundles as well, is we'll try to open up a book and basically just give that book 1 week of our attention. So we make recipes, we read it, we learn more about the individual. Sometimes they have their story in there. Of course, we go give the person a follow, and it's really fun to be able to have, so 40 different books and courses in this, that can pretty much take the rest of the year to go through one a week. And then, you're not really like overwhelmed. You can just, or maybe you tap into 2 books. Like, of course, there's going to be some things you want to tap into right away. And some things maybe you're not as drawn to open up right away. But yeah, that's one thing that Lissa and I both like to do, is be able to open up each book exactly like she's saying, and at least peek in there and see what's going on in this one, because it can be overwhelming. There's so much you get all at one time.
Yeah, exactly. And also the courses, like you've got your kitchen course, and there's a yin yoga course, there's a food freedom course. Like there's some deep stuff in this bundle. This bundle, honestly, is probably one of my absolute favorite bundles that we've been in. Like it's got so much good stuff. It's very creative. Anarina is asking, this might be a question for a tech person, but if I download it on my tablet, can I get it on my computer? Yes, you can download
I don't know how many there
on
is,
your
but I think there's like
and on your computer.
seven downloads. So if you had 7 devices, you could download it on all those different devices.
Yep. Just go to your email, click the download link, and download them on whatever device that you want them on. And we honestly recommend to highly encourage you to put the files also on backup. So in a USB stick, an external drive, or use Google Drive or Dropbox if you want to put it on the cloud.
It doesn't take up too much space too, like not even 1 full gigabyte. Less than half of it.
It's actually less than half a gigabyte. It's only 355.
So yeah, you don't need a big USB stick to throw it on. And if you're a bundle collector, you could just keep putting all the bundles on that one USB stick of like whatever. I don't know if I think the smallest USB might only be like 8 gigs. I don't know. I
know. Yeah, like I mean, as we grow in our technology, like it seems like the sticks get smaller and the space gets bigger. So those sticks are going to be able to fit it on there totally fine. But let's get into the sprouts and microgreens. We have a question here. Oh, Nate left. Nate, come back. Nate left the live. Oh no, come back, babe. Come back. Oh, Nate left. Meh. Someone's asking, have you ever grown arugula sprouts? Are they easy to grow? We haven't done the arugula sprouts, but I'm sure that they would be, Nate's coming back here. I'm sure that they would be fairly easy to grow. They're like a brassica family greens.
Gave me the
warning, there you are.
And it just like, I don't know, it cut me off. So I need to grab the charger real quick. So maybe you can answer some questions. I'll grab the charger because it's going to die on me.
Okay. So yeah, as we were talking about the arugula sprouts, so because it's a brassica family seed, so like broccoli or arugula, those are arugula. So it would be just like growing broccoli sprouts or broccoli microgreens. Kim is saying, I bought the bundle the other day. Now I'm just waiting for my silicone trays to arrive tomorrow. Yes, you can make wraps. That's awesome.
Get those silicone trays.
Do you need this charger?
Nope, I got this one. Okay. Just wanted to say hi to everybody over here.
We live in the same house. So yeah, so you can totally sprout the arugula just like you would sprout broccoli. So if you've done broccoli before, you can sprout arugula. It's very similar. Basically, Nate will go through the sprouting process. It's really, really easy.
You hear him
your own
over there?
Seeds. Oh, yes. We've got Raja who's, we hear him. It's 2 o'clock.
He is ready for his lunch.
This is the time he gets his lunch. So, Purple Potato is saying you can't grow
we haven't actually
sprouts,
sprouted arugula and grown arugula sprouts, but what we do have is we do have the arugula microgreens, which we do need to cut. As you see, they are like bumping, ready to go. So yeah, but we haven't actually done the sprouts, actual sprouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
would assume they would be similar to broccoli because it's a brassica family.
Yeah, you
and
would
we've
think
done
so.
broccoli and
I mean,
radish as
we
well.
have the
Radish is
seeds in here. We
brassica.
just
Yeah.
haven't tried them in the sprout form, just because we're so used to just doing lentils and mung beans, broccoli and radish. Those are kind of our, and clover, not clover, cabbage. Those are kind of our go-to sprouts that we do the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guess what we're going to try tonight?
We might have to.
Let's try growing some arugula sprouts. So we've got 55 lives is asking how
yeah,
have
so
you tried
hydroponic, for those that don't maybe know, is the growing without soil. And so, yes, we have grown hydroponically on cocoa fiber mats. Let me see if I've got do I have my stuff up here? These are the mats that we've grown on. And we also will grow on felt, right? But it's a bit more money to do the mats, and we get a better yield using soil. But we were doing the hydroponic system like this for quite a while, and we still will tap in and do it from time to time. So yes, we have grown hydroponically, and if you want to tune in and see a grow along, I've got a grow along series on my IGTV. You can see, and we're doing a hydroponic grow along, so you can see kind of like what we're doing here. But we also have hemp fiber mats. Like I said, that felt mat. There's several different grow mediums you can use, but soil is really the best.
Yeah, soil is the best. Stardust is saying, I have never done this before.
You know,
do you need
that's
a
great
designated space in the house?
55 lives. If you send me a DM, I'll send you a little screenshot of where to go. Because you got to go to the reels, and then you got to press series, and then you'll find the series. And it might be easier if you just send me a direct message, and I'll send you a little screenshot of exactly where to go. But you go to the reels. I'm not sure if you know the icons, like, you know, the regular feed or the reels feed, and then there's the series. For me, like, I don't know, it would be a little confusing, I think, in a sense. But to answer the question, no, you don't need a lot of space or a lot of setup. And I do actually here, maybe I'll take my camera and flip the camera around, and we'll show you. Look here, I've got my office here, and we've got some microgreens that we're growing right on the windowsill. So if you want to start growing microgreens, we're just growing in a recycled container. We have some radish here, some daikon radish, right? And you can just grow them right on your windowsill. Like, look at how much of a space it takes. Like, you know, it's the width of my palm, right? So you don't need a lot of space. So that would be the thing to get going and doing. You don't need to set yourself up with a rack system and do all the lights and stuff if you don't want to. Lissa and I wanted to kind of geek out there. Sorry, I'm trying to put this back in the tripod here. We kind of wanted to geek out a little bit and just be able to have more microgreens. So that's why we invested on the rack. And we probably have about $500 invested on the rack, the lights, the rack liners, the fans, the timer, the trays. That's not including soil or seed. But probably this whole infrastructure, I bet we're right around there, about $500. And we would like to be able to set up two of the shelves as a flood and drain. I actually made a shopping cart. I've got all the pieces that I need to build that flood and drain, which will be really cool because the trays will flood, you know, it'll flood it and then it'll drain it. And it's basically like automatically watering, because we do all this watering by hand twice a day, morning and night. But yeah, you don't need a lot of space. As you see, the windowsill, perfect.
Yeah, it's so perfect. Yeah, you don't need a lot of space. You don't have to invest in all that. But we do, because we geek out with it and we love adding the new things. But you can do it so easily. So can you share a little bit about the difference between sprouts,
realistically, like any seed will sprout. You know, any plant, it starts as a seed and it sprouts. So the sprout is when the seed has gone through a germination process. The germination is basically like water has touched the seed, and the seed is like, oh, I guess it's time to grow. And so it'll sprout a little tail out one end and it'll leaf out the other end. And of course, you know, you're hoping that it's going this way. The sprout's going down into the dirt, the leaves going up. So, but anyways, from basically as soon as you soak the seed or start germinating the seed, from there to about 4, 5, maybe 6 days, that's the sprout stage. So after that stage, if the seed has the proper environment and soil or some sort of hydroponic mat that the root can kind of grab onto, from days 5, 6, all the way up until like maybe 10 or even 20 days, like cilantro takes like 7 to 20 days to really grow in the microgreen stage. That's the microgreen stage. So a sprout is from day 0 to 5, and a microgreen is from day 5 to 10. So that's how it's kind of split up. And then of course, after the microgreen stage, it would be the baby green stage. But yeah, that's really the difference. There's studies that are showing that there's more nutrients, measurable nutrients in the sprout than the microgreen. And then of course, I would imagine that's possibly also because you're actually eating the seed and the root as well, the sprout, right? So, but microgreens are still massively packed with nutrients, and they're beautiful. That's why we do both. And, you know, we would highly encourage you to just do both. Sprouting is going to be the easiest because it's, you could really soak some mung beans or lentils overnight, and the next day they're ready to eat, right? So 5 days, you don't need dirt or lights or anything. Sprouting is so easy. Everybody should be sprouting. And of course, there's a proper way to sprout. You want to make sure everything's being drained off properly, you know, or maybe you're sprouting like a colander, like a sieve mesh or something. But yeah, that's basically the difference between the two.
Very cool. So really quick, if somebody wanted to get sprouting today, what would be like the easiest, quickest, fastest way
so the easiest, fastest way, I'm trying to think, do I have anything in here? I don't think I do. So what you'd want to do is you just want some sort of a mesh that can go over a glass jar. Hold it on with a rubber band. You could use like a piece of stocking. Heck, you could use like a chunk of a cotton shirt if you wanted even. Just, you want to be able to put that over the lid. You know, still some airflow is able to get in there, but the whole point of having some sort of mesh over the top of your jar is so you can rinse, you know, water's going into there, you can rinse and swish your sprouts and then drain that water. You're not going to have all your sprouts drain everywhere. So get creative as to what you could put on top. Sometimes we'll use we'll buy garlic and it comes in like a mesh bag, and you can just kind of cut that mesh, open it up, spread it around the mouth of the jar and use a rubber band. That would be the easiest way to get going. And then you just rinse and drain and then put it upside down so it can drain fully in like a bowl while you go do whatever you're going to do all day long.
Yeah, it's so easy. You just soak overnight and then rinse and drain twice a day for even just a day or 2 or 3, depending on the size of sprout that you want. But it's really super simple to do that. So why should we be adding sprouts and microgreens to every meal?
Yeah,
that's like the topic of our live here.
Today's day and age of like the concept of so much soil depletion, you know, beans that how we grow our food, monocropping, different sorts of crops. You know, there's a lot of talk and stuff in the air about our food not having as much nutrients as it once did because the soils are being depleted. And, you know, nothing to necessarily freak out about, but it makes sense. It would make sense because we're growing just, you know, acres and acres of one particular type of food, and we're trying to get the most yield out of that food. So therefore, when we test the food, and of course there's people doing tests on lettuces and different things, and they're like, oh, there used to be more nutrients way back in the day. We're not getting that much nutrients now. So there's a lot of fear there, which, you know, it's valid. There's some valid points, but there's still some nutrients, of course, in these plant foods that we're getting. But to add sprouts and microgreens to our day-to-day, it's a way that we, I feel like as individuals, can have some sort of interaction with some sort of food that we're going to be eating. And this food is highly condensed. The nutrients are just, I mean, because all of the nutrients, all the magic that is in the broccoli or that's in the cabbage is in that seed, that tiny seed. Everything is contained in the seed. So when it does start to sprout and grow, and it's in a sprout stage, this little tiny sprout stage, it still has all the nutrients that the fully mature plant is going to have. So, I mean, really, when you think about it, it's the easiest, quickest way to add more nutrients into the food that we're already eating. Really, plain and simply. Not to say that if you're buying food conventionally, you're not getting any nutrients out there. I didn't want to like freak anybody out, but I mean, I'm sure people who have tapped into agriculture or healthy foods, we can understand that it's not how it used to be very possibly 100 years ago. Soils are different. We're using all kinds of fertilizers and nutrients to grow the best crops. And I feel like once we understand, you tap into a little bit of the information and you understand how powerful these foods are and how fast they are to grow, and you're able to grow them for yourself, not only are you introducing your own microbiome because you're touching and you're, maybe you're grabbing some sprouts and putting it on your salad, but you grew them yourself. So that's empowering. Not only does that feel empowering, but you're also getting the vitamins and the minerals, all the nutrients that's in the sprout. So really, like, why wouldn't we do this kind of stuff? It's so fast, it's so easy.
Exactly. Yeah. So what are some ways that people can add sprouts and microgreens to their diet? Like, what about smoothies or salads or
That's
wraps?
a great question.
How can
and
they
really,
add more into what they're making?
Anything that you eat, I feel like you can add sprouts to. Like, even if you're having a bowl of oatmeal, you could throw some sprouts in your oatmeal if you wanted. But you can throw them in, like Lissa's saying, you throw them in your smoothies, your wraps, your salads. Of course, those would be the easiest things to think of to put sprouts in. But you could throw your sprouts or the microgreens in a soup. You could layer it in your lasagna if you wanted. Say the lasagna is already cooked. Maybe don't peel it. Maybe don't peel it back. Throw it on top. And if you want, you could just peel back that cooked noodle and throw some microgreens there, because you don't want to cook them. You'll basically like diminish greatly the amount of vitamins and minerals that you're going to get. But I would say add them into everything. What Lissa and I will do certain times, like we're a little ambitious with what we're actually planting, and we can't finish everything. So what we'll take our dehydrator, and what we have on here is peas. So we cut up the rest of the peas that we had. We had about a quarter of the tray of peas. We'll dehydrate the peas, and then it's just basically like this dried herbs, right? And you can just crush those up, blend it in the Vitamix, blend it in your coffee maker, your coffee grinder, and then you can have powder, microgreen powder. And then you could add the powder to dressings. I mean, of course, you can add sprouts to your dressings and your dips, your smoothies, your banana ice cream. Like, we really like nerd out with it. Like, because really it's just like, like I made smoothies today. I put a little bit of this microgreen powder in each smoothie. You didn't even know, huh? I didn't tell her that it was in there, but I mean, I just tossed it in because why not, right? Like vitamins and minerals, antioxidants, anti-inflammatory, all the different good stuff. I mean, there's so many things. There's so many things. But that's the best way. The best way is just to eat them. And like, we started to grow them like this. We started to have just microgreen salads, like no other lettuce, just microgreens, cut them up and just microgreen salad. But yeah, I mean, my thing would be just add them into everything. Maybe you put them in something you don't really like it. Don't add them into that thing anymore, but add them into the thing that you like it. Like I like to put the powder, the microgreen powder, into the smoothies and the banana ice cream and the dressings when I think about it. And of course, it's much better when it's on the counter because I can see it. But yeah, I mean, they go on everything. Put them on your tacos, put them in your burritos, put them on your burgers, put them on your pizza, put them on your spaghetti. Trying to think of other really common foods. Like maybe you have like, maybe you eat standard westernized style diets. Maybe we have some people in here who aren't vegan and they have like their animal product. They've got their starches, they've got their vegetables. Throw some microgreens on there too. Why not, right? Some sprouts. Yeah. Just get them in.
Get more in. Yes.
Mm.
Someone's asking, I don't
sell the setup itself, but what I do have is I have links, which I'm building after the bundle. I'll have a little bit more time to finish my catalog because I'm redoing my list. I've got what I call my favorite list. Lissa also has her favorite list, but I have every single thing in here posted or linked in that list, and it's all like linked Amazon affiliate links. So we do get a little kickback if you do buy from the link. But what you could do is you can just send me a direct message and say, send me your list, Nate. And I'll send you my list, which has all the movies and books and everything that we use in the kitchen, everything we use for sprouting, everything for fermenting, and everything for the microgreen room. It's like the master list of every single thing that we love, that we want to also, you know, help you with if you're interested and you're like, I want to set up just like you. I'm the same way. I was researching for like hundreds of hours trying to figure out how am I going to implement what I'm learning, you know, through the research that I'm doing to build a system that's going to be efficient and, you know, to my liking. So, but it's very simple. It's a rack that we picked up at Costco. We bought the shelf liners separate on Amazon, and we bought the lights on Amazon, the timers and the fans, all on Amazon. The only thing that we didn't buy on Amazon was Bootstrap Farmer trays, which Bootstrap Farmer trays are actually on Amazon now. So you can get them on Amazon. I really like the Bootstrap Farmer trays. They're a very strong tray. It's a quality tray. And I kind of want to invest. My whole thing was, you know, because Lissa's like, you know, you do your thing, babe, like get the grow room going. I'm into it. You know, she supported it. But I wanted to make sure that we were investing on quality stuff to where it's going to last us for decades. And I did try some other trays that were kind of flimsy, very, very cheap, really, really cheap trays. But I was like, man, I'm already breaking them after a few washes. So that's where we went. We sprung for the extra $1 on the Bootstrap Farmer trays because they are a bit more money than like a really cheap tray that you might find in a hardware store. But yeah, really essentially, like I said, probably like, I would think that it couldn't be more than $500 because the lights, we have the Barina shop lights. These work fine. I know other growers that are using these as well. $60 for 12 lights, and they all plug in on a timer strip. Super simple, super easy to set up. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. We have somebody, Earth Culture Cucina, says, marvelously crafted bundle. Again, you guys, the bundle link is in our bio. Please go grab the bundle. But they say absolutely incredible and unique works of art from each contributor. Round of grateful applause to each one of you for delivering us such a true treasure. That is like probably like the best comment. Thank you so much for all your love for the bundle. The bundle is, again, it's we get together to make this for you so that you have all of this new content. And if you're looking for new raw vegan content, this is the place to get it. Link is in our bio or in description. Go get the bundle. There's only 3 days left to get it. So if you've been thinking about it, now's your chance because 3 days are going to go by super
such an
fast.
excellent
and then
comment.
It's gonna
And you know, it's interesting too because not only are the contributors contributing their product, but they're also stepping out of their comfort zone and their boxes and thinking like, okay, what can I bring someone next year? I want to make a product that, because see, like, I've got my raw vegan kitchen essentials course in this, and I've been wanting to build this course for years because I wanted to know, like, what do I need as a raw vegan in the kitchen? Like, there's certain things that I need to get, I'm sure. So, but I'm going to be selling this course from now on after the bundle for $67. So you get that in the course, and you get 39 other products, all for $50. But what's cool and so interesting is like how other people, other contributors, and hopefully other people that have been tuning into these lives will also be like, have an aha moment and be like, I want to make a book. I want to write a program. I want to create a course that can also help some other people. And so it really, I think it like lights a fire under our rears to like think of, okay, what's the next thing that's going to be amazing, that's going to help somebody on this path that they're on of health and wellness and trying to figure out, you know, chart the waters as to what to make. Because, you know, when you tap into the raw vegan thing, you're like, what do I make? Like, what do you eat? Just salads and smoothies? Is that it? Now, salads and smoothies are amazing. And like, really, honestly, Lissa and I are like, we love our salads and smoothies. I'm so excited for our salad that we're having tonight. Because we've been eating a lot of amazing food, but we just, you know, sometimes we crave our salads. But there's a lot of different things to make other than just salads and smoothies. And what's so cool is we have salads and smoothies every single day. And we're finding salads and smoothies that we've never thought of. We weren't thinking of these concoctions, right? Like the vampire cayenne smoothie, or the red pepper wine, or I think, is that how she says it? Like, amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, black pepper. Yeah, I know there's so many amazing recipes in there, and for salads and obviously wraps and all kinds of good stuff. Anna Rena is saying, I heard a long time ago that the protein fat ratio changes from seed to sprout.
I have
to
heard that
microgreen.
too, and I feel like I may have touched upon that in my book Alive, talking about the power and the benefits of sprouts and microgreens. But you know, I wouldn't be able to necessarily like talk about that or articulate, because that's something that I'd have to dig into a little bit deeper to really be able to like reiterate what's going on there. But yeah, I do believe that there is, you know, because there's something else happening within the plant. The plant is like, okay, now it's time to actually shoot all of our energy towards the cotyledons, the leaves, and very possibly, I mean, it would make sense that certain things are changing in there. But that's a great, that's one that I'm like, I need to make a note of that, do some research, and make a YouTube about it or something, because that's good. Like, what's really going on?
Yeah, what changes? How does it change? Which microgreens are most nutrient dense than broccoli? Before you answer that though, I want to mention this, that we don't do raw food or eat specific things because we're looking for the most nutrient dense out of everything or whatever. We're not choosing like the one thing that's better than everything else. We're about variety. So it's not about one single thing. It's about a variety of everything else, and having the benefits from everything in your diet instead of just like one specific thing. So when it's like, what's more nutritious, there's nothing to compare, because
sunflower,
broccoli has its things.
I know they each have their own thing. Each one of them are absolutely packed. I mean, they're micros. These are superfoods. These are like 100% superfoods. So broccoli, of course, as most people know, if they do tap into this world of what's going on with microgreens and broccoli and health and wellness, I would imagine a lot of people understanding or coming across the information about the high amounts of sulforaphane that are in broccoli sprouts and broccoli microgreens. So a lot of people do know that, and they may be thinking like, well, what else is there that's also really nutrient dense? And radish, I think, is probably one of the most nutrient packed microgreens that are out there. And of course, I haven't spent my life just scouring the world of how to, you know, deliver messages on microgreens and microgreens only, because I'm into a lot of things in my life. And it's interesting though, from the research that I've done, because I'm like, what's the most powerful and nutritious microgreen out there? And radish keeps popping up. So that's why I'm saying radish. I don't necessarily know. I don't have a lab. I'm not doing tests on these things. But from what I've gathered, radish is one of the most nutritious, you know, nutrient dense microgreen out there when it's lined up with, say, sunflower and pea. But there's more iron in sunflower. You know, there's maybe more protein in pea. I don't know if there is, because like I said, you know, my brain can't really like retain all the stats and information. I would need a paper so I could be like reading off the paper here. But yeah, definitely. Radish, I feel like, is a great one to start off with if you're just starting, because they're really hard to mess up. They're very hardy, and they're very simple. They're pretty. They grow really fast. And of course, Google says they're the most nutrient dense. And I've searched that out more than once. Like, what's the most nutrient dense microgreen? Like, what is the most beneficial microgreen? And radish keeps popping up over and over and over again. I don't know if radish has a lock on the algorithm or what, but you know, like, so whatever the case is, but exactly like Lissa says, it's all about the variety. So we have like, I don't know, maybe like 17 to 20 different varieties that will grow, but we really do gravitate towards like a core, like 6 or 7 that we're constantly growing, which would be like peas, sunflower, of course, broccoli, radish, the sulforaphane mix, which is like a kale trio of like arugula and kale, the purple kohlrabi, right? The cabbage, if I already said that, maybe the beets or the chard. Those ones are a little trickier. The chives, garlic chives, and then another one would be amaranth. When we get some good seeds of amaranth, the amaranths come around. So that's 10 varieties essentially right there. And there's still more to grow. I mean, there's all kinds, but those are like the core ones that we like to kind of rotate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I love them all the ones you said. Kim is asking, what's the best way to store sprouts? Is there a secret to making them last longer? And
I was going to say the same thing. The best way to store them is to eat them and store them in your belly. You know, like eat them. They're stored in your belly. They're being processed. Your microbiome is able to absorb all that prebiotic fiber and you know, create the short chain fatty acids, which is going to help repair the lining of our gut and like feed all those little guys. So the best way to store them is eat them, of course, but I understand where your question's coming from because, you know, you sprout a big jar of them, you're not going to eat them all right away. So the best way to do it, what we do, when I could bring you in there to show you, but we just throw them in the fridge. So we toss them in our refrigerator. We just keep them in the jar that they were sprouting in, and we keep the mesh lid on top, and we just put them in the refrigerator, and then we use them over the next 2 to 3 days. And by the time the third day, I mean, they should be gone. You know, I mean, there's the two of us. You know, if there's just you and maybe you're single, you know, living in your place by yourself or whatever, like you'll find out like, oh, maybe I need to do not a tablespoon. Maybe I just need 2 teaspoons of seeds to sprout because I wasn't able to finish those all in time. But yeah, the best thing to do is just to stuff them in everything. Throw like a little handful, not like a massive handful in your smoothies because it is going to taste, you know, a bit different. But if you do green smoothies, oh my gosh, they're perfect for green smoothies. We put them in our fruit smoothies, just a little bit, maybe like just a few, right? Just to get something, sprouts. So yeah, but definitely the best thing to do is to eat them. But yeah, we store them in the fridge. Yeah.
Yep, definitely. Fridge is easiest.
Okay,
what if you're not
this is an issue. This is where you'd want to, if you were going to really geek out with it, you'd want to set up a flood and drain system, which we don't have set up yet, so I can't show you how that works. But essentially, it's one big tray that goes on the entire shelf. And then instead of having each individual microgreen tray, see how we have 2 trays. We've got the top tray and the bottom tray. The bottom tray holds the water. Basically, that big tray would be replacing the bottom tray, and then you would just set your top trays in that big flood and drain tray, and it would flood it, you know, however you have your timer set up, you know, 2-3 times a day, and it would drain it. That would be the best way, super baller way to water your microgreens when you're not home. So if you're not home, bring them with you. If you're not home, bring them with you. Be like, all right, you know, we're staying at the hotel or whatever. You can bring these on the plane with you. You can bring them with you. What we've done several times is we actually will be like, oh my gosh, we're going camping and we didn't finish all the microgreens in time. We're like, okay, I guess we're bringing microgreens with us camping, and we'll bring these and we'll set them up on a table right at our campground, and we're just like, oh, you know, because we're raw foodies. We like to nerd out with raw foods. We're putting microgreens and everything. We're living foods. And of course, people walk by, they're like, dang, you guys are hardcore. You're bringing your food with you like living, you know? So that's one thing to do. Great conversation starter. You might make some new friends. Just bring them with you. Bring them with you. If you can, that would be the best way if you're in the process of their growing and you need to water them twice a day. They need a little bit of water. They can go like 1 day without water, depending on the soil. But, you know, if you miss 1 watering or definitely 2, they'll be laying over, like just hating it.
Right. Yeah, totally. Yolanda missed the part about the drying of the microgreens, so that's another thing. If you aren't able to
so
get
Yolanda,
to them,
what we do is we've got the Excalibur Dehydrator, which make sure you grab the bundle. Go get the bundle, and you'll learn how to make wraps in the bundle, Lissa's hand salad book, and you know you'll see in detail about the dehydrator. But anyways, this is a tray from the dehydrator. Just has a mesh sheet on it. We love the Excalibur. It's a really great trusted brand. And then I just harvested all the peas and just laid them on the tray. These have already been dehydrated, so they're all like, if I were to just grab a handful and crush them, they'd turn to a powder. So basically, I'll just lay them on the tray, and then what I'll do is I'll take another mesh from another dehydrator tray, and I'll just lay that on top, and then I'll just put a couple of forks on top, just to kind of weigh down the actual mesh, so it doesn't blow pea microgreens all over in the dehydrator. It kind of helps hold it down, and then just dehydrate it for like a few hours, you know, probably even 2 hours, and it's done. And then you could just take these and you can either powder them up in your Vitamix, your high-speed blender, or your coffee grinder, or you could just take a handful and just stuff them in a jar, and when you want some, you can just pull some out of a jar. They don't need to be ground up into powder, but that's a great way to utilize what you can't finish. Just dry it. No need to have anything go to waste. If you do have a freeze dryer, of course, freeze drying them would be like the best, because you're retaining like 90% of the nutrition, 97% of the nutrients, as opposed to dehydrating. We just lost about 40% of the nutrients in there because it's been exposed to air, but there's still something in there, right? So yeah, so anyways, that's what we do with the microgreens that we can't finish. We'll just dehydrate them, and it's cool. We've got in our cupboard, we've got several different varieties that are microgreen powders, basically.
Nice, nice. Thank you for that. Earth Culture Cucina saying, which thawing method do you prefer for the veggies that are frozen ahead of time for the recipes? And she listed a bunch of different ones. Now, I'll answer that one really quick. So it depends on the recipe. If you're using something that you're thawing for a dressing or whatever, I recommend just using like warm water and just letting them sit in there. But if it's something that's been marinated beforehand, like the sunchokes, for example, or because we'll like chop sunchokes and marinate them in lemon juice and garlic, I wouldn't recommend thawing those in water, because then you're kind of like washing away some of the flavor. I just like putting them right into the dehydrator in a warm space and just let them warm up that way, or just on the counter, and then use them in the recipe. So I would just follow the recipe, and yeah, you can thaw in water. It really doesn't matter as long as it's not like boiling.
Amazing.
Just, like,
I know we did
the
the sunchokes the other day. We pulled them out of the freezer, and they had the marinade on them, and we just put them right on the dehydrator tray with the mesh and just put them in the dehydrator, and they were perfect in like 20 minutes. So delicious. And look here, you guys, we've got some microgreen powder in the smoothie. We've got some, this is a carob and date and banana smoothie.
Oh, yeah.
We just decided to do smoothies for lunch today because Lissa's doing lives all day long for you guys, and I wasn't able to feed her lunch, so I just shoved another smoothie down her face. No, I didn't shove it.
Thank you. Sophie is asking the easiest way to start. I'm not sure if she means sprouts or microgreens, but 55 Lives is also saying radish sprouts.
Yeah, so radish sprouts are great to sprout in a jar just the same. Biggest thing is you just want to make sure your jar is upside down so it's draining and those sprouts aren't sitting in water. And if you smell the jar, they might smell a little like radishy, right? So yeah, sulfury. So not to worry there. Give it 2-3 days on the counter, rinse and drain twice a day, 3 times a day if you can even. And then after like the 3rd day, just put them in the fridge, and of course use them. Don't let them go bad. We've done that too. We're like, oh shoot, like it got pushed in the back. We forgot it was there. It's like, oh, these poor sprouts, we didn't use these. But they are safe to sprout and they're safe to eat. And of course, you know, you can grow them into the microgreens. Here's a variation of microgreen, some radish sprouts right here. These are the purple, these are the purple radish, and they grow like crazy. And of course, when you cut them, you're just cutting them and you're adding them into your stuff. So they're definitely safe in both ways, sprouts or microgreens. Yeah, you just want to make sure that you're rinsing properly.
Yeah, exactly. And also, on a side note, when you're doing sprouts, make sure you're getting sprouting seeds, because those sprouting seeds have been tested for pathogens. So you're safe if you're getting specifically sprouting. And Nate, again, he's got links. Send him a DM, and he can help hook you up with those. 55 Lives is asking, do you always have to start microgreens in the dark?
Realistically, that's the best way to go, because you're really trying to give it the same kind of an environment that it would have in nature. And in nature, seeds would be like laying on the surface of the dirt, or maybe like it rained a little bit and it kind of like went and sunk in the dirt a little bit. So there's not a lot of light in the germination process of a seed. Now, I know I have myself germinated seeds in a paper towel. Just get a wet paper towel, sprinkle some seeds in there, fold the paper towel, and then let it just sit. And of course, you want to put it, if you can, put it somewhere dark. But I mean, really, they will still germinate, not in the dark. I mean, we're growing sprouts on our counter. They're not in the dark. Some people, they have something that covers the sprout jar, or some people do the sprouting in their cupboard, because, you know, naturally that's how sprouts would be growing. They wouldn't be getting exposed to sunlight, you know. But yeah, definitely, you know, I feel that the best way is in the dark. And, you know, like if you look around at, because you guys, I myself am just someone who is pulling information from the internet. You guys have access to all the information that I have access to. You know how it is, like when you want to get into anything you want to get into, you tap in, Google it or YouTube it, and you're like, whoa, like just the other day, I'm like, I want to learn how to sharpen knives properly. I want to learn something other than the drag through knife sharpener, just a little side bit here. And I'm blown away at the world that there is about knife sharpening. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, okay, I need to start researching, and need to start like understanding about different techniques and methods and stones and oh my gosh, all this stuff, right? So in saying that, I don't know a lot about sprouting and microgreens necessarily when I look to the other people who are doing it for their job. Like that's their whole life. Like Doug Evans, he's like the sprout guy, right? Like he knows so much about sprouts because he's dedicated his life to that one particular facet. Or there's people who are growing microgreens and that's all they do. That's all they geek out about is microgreen. Microgreen is their life. Everything about microgreens. So what I'm sharing is just what I've gathered over these past like several years, and I'm trying to just regurgitate it the best way that I can in hopes that you'll be inspired to just start doing it yourself. Maybe research yourself. I created a course, Sprouts, Krauts, and Microgreens, teaching you everything that I know, which in my mind, I'm like, I don't really know very much. Like really, you know, I mean, of course I know way more than the average person because I've taken a little time to research this and implement it into our life. So yes, definitely, I know more than the average bear, but there's still so much that I don't know, you know, and yeah, I can't remember what the question was. I totally like went off on a tangent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, someone was asking, didn't you both do an
Betsy.
experiment a while back growing
Betsy,
sprouts in the dark?
she remembered it. I was gonna bring that up. I think maybe that's where the question started from was, you know, is it best to go in the dark? Betsy, she remembered totally. We sprouted in the cupboard and we sprouted on the counter, and it was like, I can't tell the difference. Maybe if we were to get into the lab and do some lab work, maybe we would find out the ones that are in the dark have just a little bit more nutrients than the ones on the, so what I mean? Like we don't really know, but yeah, I mean, so that's where it started. There you go. It's really from all of the information that I've pulled from the internet, all of the pros, because I'm just trying to like, I want to learn from the pros. I want to become like a pro myself. What are the pros doing? And the pros are all germinating in the dark. Pretty much. Okay, so yeah, and let me finish about the dark. Actually, I do know several people who grow microgreens on a mass scale. They don't germinate in the dark, but what they do is they'll take, let me just grab, sorry you guys. You just grab these trays here. I'm just trying to like give you a good visual. So there's a lot of growers that aren't germinating in the dark because they don't have a separate room to germinate in. Like my buddy Donnie Greens doesn't have a separate room that he germinates in. He germinates on a rack with no lights. So it's a special rack with no lights. We are fortunate enough that we have space in our closet. We can do it in our closet. And I just figure we'll just do it in the closet. It's kind of fun. But so, yeah, I mean, you don't necessarily need to. So you have the bottom tray, no holes. Then you have the top tray, which has the soil and the seed. And then you have the third tray, which is the blackout tray. And that's going to go on top. And that essentially is germinating in the dark. So there we go. Like, you don't need to put it in the closet. You can actually put it, it will germinate right here on the rack because it's actually in the dark under the black tray. But of course, there's going to be like minuscule amounts of light that get in. You totally could, we actually did. We were germinating the hydroponic style, not in the closet, right on the rack. Lights are going, so you don't need to germinate in the dark, but it makes sense. Like, the darker the room, the better the germination very possibly is going to be, but there's still lots of people germinating just like that. And some crops, like Lissa's saying, some crops actually do really well with weight on top. So we actually will put like a paving stone, a 15-pound paving stone, and I'm learning this from the pros, you guys. I go to the pros. What are they doing? I want to do what they're doing because I want the same outcome. Same as we're trying to teach you with the stuff that's in the bundle. I mean, these are from the pros. What you're going to get from the bundle is from all the pros who are like dedicating aspects of their life to this. So if you want to learn from the pros, get the bundle and you will become a pro like lickety split. But yeah, certain crops do really well with weight on top. And sometimes, like my buddy Donnie, he's a pro. Nearly 7 years he's been growing microgreens for his main source of income, 6-figure income a year. I mean, he knows his stuff. He has 6 trays stacked on top of each other with one weight on top. So you don't have to have one weight per tray. He actually stacks 6 of them, and then he's all that. The only reason I don't stack 7 or 8 is because as they start to grow, they push that weight up and they'll start to fall over. So he's like, the only reason I don't do like 15 stacked on top is he's like, I don't have a space big enough and they'll just eventually fall over. So yeah, so really to back up and to just, recap on that, they don't need to be germinated in the dark because they already are in the dark, putting a dark tray on top. And if you're not doing it in trays and you're doing it like I was showing you, like on the windowsill, then, I mean, maybe it would be best to do in the dark. But this is another fun thing. It's just experiment. Like, I'm not a pro, you guys. I mean, and I don't want to paint myself as like, I know all the stuff about microgreen. I don't know, I don't really know very much. I know more than the average person. And the reason I say that I don't know very much is because when we tap into these worlds of people who dedicate their lives in certain areas, you're like, wow, they know so much about microgreens and all the intricacies about microgreen growing. But yeah, definitely. There you go. This would be the quickest, efficient way to germinate would just be making sure you have that top tray on the top. It's in the dark. You don't need to do it in the closet.
Right. Can you share really quickly about the trays?
Yeah.
Like, why is the bottom
so that's
tray
a great question.
no holes
So
and then
what
the
we
top tray
want
has holes?
Is when we germinate, we're going to be spraying the seed. We're going to put them in germination, and that's the only time that you're ever going to do a top watering. I will never put water on top of these plants. That's not how you do it because, that's going to introduce different mold. You're going to have different problems because, they're growing so tightly. This is not how they would grow in nature. There's not a lot of airflow in there, right? So what we're doing with microgreens is you're bottom watering. So you're using the bottom tray to hold the water, kind of like a plant in a pot. You've got you can pour the water in and it can kind of drain out. So the water goes in the bottom tray, and as you can see, these roots here are able to just kind of wick up some of that water, get drinks. You can see the roots coming through. So this tray actually has slits. Roots are coming through every single hole that is in this tray. So that's why you have the 2 trays. It's a clean, efficient way to go. And of course, I'm pulling information again from the pros. This is what the pros do. We've formulated trays as humanity that are best for growing microgreens, and a really easy way to go is to go with the shallow tray. It's just a 1-inch tray. It doesn't have to be this big, tall 2-inch tray. which I'll show you right here. Here's a 2-inch. You can see how much taller it is as opposed to the 1-inch. That's going to take so much more soil. You don't need a lot of soil for microgreens. They need just a little tiny little bit of soil. But yeah, that's why we have the top tray and the bottom tray, is to do it's called bottom watering, because after germination, you're going to be watering down here. You just lift it up, throw like this only gets a half cup of water twice a day. This tray only drinks 1 cup of water every day, but it does drink it. It drinks a cup of water every single day. Yeah.
That is so awesome. Oh, thank you so much, babe, for joining and sharing
I want to know
your
more,
knowledge, because you do
more.
know a lot. You really, really do. And yes, none of us know everything. And that's the thing. Like, we don't know everything, but like you said, we can inspire, we can motivate you to do new things, we can brainstorm with you. We're all here to help you, and that's why we have the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle going on right now. 3 days remain to get the bundle. Please go grab it. The link is in either of our bios or in the description box below. Go get the bundle so that you can download 40 brand new, all raw pieces of content for you. Yeah. It's beautiful. So,
it's 3 o'clock.
Thanks, babe. I hear Raja meowing. I've got a live in an hour with Karen Ramsey. We're going to be talking about cystic acne. Yeah, in 1 hour. So 4 o'clock p.m. PST.
Love you guys.
But thanks, babe.
We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah.